So that Happy Cat Sanctuary thing that we read about last stream, with a fire that killed the owner and at least 100 cats, it's now being claimed that it wasn't arson. The fire at a Long Island animal sanctuary that killed its owner and at least 100 cats has been deemed not suspicious, authorities said. Arson is not suspected as the cause of the tragic blaze that destroyed the Happy Cat Sanctuary on Monday, killing animal rescuer Chris Arsenault as he tried to rescue his beloved felines, the Brookhaven Fire Marshal announced, according to reports. Detective from homicide and arson squads were originally investigating the cause of the blaze. The cause is now officially undetermined, which means that the inferno was not deemed suspicious. Now, I'm not, like, a master in legalese, but I feel like when you issue the cause as undetermined, how did you rule out that it's not suspicious if the cause is still undetermined? Like, that seems a little weird to me. I'm gonna say something that'll get you banned if you stay. Like I reported initially, there has been immense harassment against this guy. That doesn't necessarily mean it was arson. And, like, even though there is, you know, a lot of motive, it was not reported as arson. It was just like, it could be, it could not be, we don't know. It seems very strange to me that they would come out and say, the cause is undetermined. That means it's not suspicious. It's like, well, how do you know? If the cause is undetermined, how do you know? Arson requires a clear, this is where the blaze started, along with a cause. Yeah, but if they don't know where the blaze started, how can they rule out arson? It's like it could have started in like one of the underground cat tunnels or some shit, right? Cat probably knocked something over. I could have just been a cat knocking something over. You're completely correct. It could have been. Just because you don't know what the cause is doesn't mean you can't rule out things. They're saying we don't know exactly what it is. We just don't think it's arson. It just seems like a weird way to say things to me. It just seems like a weird way to say things, because like I don't trust authorities, man. It's that one person's fault, but I won't say who. Forget arson. Why call it not suspicious? Because you don't know how it started? Yeah, it's just like, maybe this is just the way legally things are stated, but it's weird to me. The blaze is believed to have started indoors, according to Brookhaven Fire Marshal Chris Merriman, who told CBS authorities cannot rule out a fire caused by propane-fed portable heaters that were in the area of fire origin. Arsenault had converted his Medford home into the Happy Cat Sanctuary, where he housed at least 300 felines. Holes that were cut into the walls and floors for the cats helped the fire spread, Merriman said. Authorities said the blaze started around 7:15 a.m. March 31st, and firefighters had the Dowerland Road fire under control by 8:35 a.m., but not before the sanctuary had burned to rubble. Brookhaven officials said that they had been working with Arsenault to resolve code violations before the fire broke out, though it's unclear what specific issues they were addressing. Well, that's also incredibly sad. If there were, like, issues with keeping the house up to code because of the way that it was designed to house that many cats, and so he was having to, like, work with firefighters for that. There's no limit to how many cats people in the area can own. That's a very weird thing to put in the article, I suppose. Surviving felines could be spotted roaming around the charred rubble this week, with rescuers set up feeding stations as they tried to corral them, according to the outlet. Oh, that's really sad. There's, like, the cats on the roof of the house here. They're just like, this was home. This was home. The cats were clearly planning something. The Strong Island Animal Rescue League has located more than 30 cats and transferred them to animal hospitals for treatment. Some of them are in critical condition, some of them have burned whiskers, some have burns on their paws, smoke inhalation. Frankie Florida of Strong Island Animal Rescue League told the outlet. The remaining 150 cats will be transported or donated to a warehouse. That's also a strange sentence. What do they mean, donated to a warehouse? And the Suffolk County SPCA will bring a mobile veterinary hospital to the scene to provide medical care. Arsenault, 65, happened upon a colony of 30 sickly cats and kittens by the train tracks near his home, changing his life forever, as well as the lives of hundreds of cats over the years to come. The retired New Jersey Transit conductor started the cat sanctuary in 2006 after he lost his 24-year-old son Eric in a motorcycle accident and was in desperate need of solace from his pain. He took the strays in and nursed them back to health, which to his surprise helped him slowly begin to heal after the lowest point in his life. After my son died, those cats gave me something to do, Arsenault told the Daily Mail in 2018. Eventually, he transformed his entire home and yard into what would later become Happy Cat Sanctuary, keeping only his 8 by 12 foot bedroom for himself, where he both ate and slept. Which, if you have that many cats, you kind of need a place to seclude yourself in order to eat. Those cats are going to be all over you trying to eat your food. Warehouse equals Chinese restaurant. Don't say that! He purchased additional property in 2007 as the operation expanded, where he provided everything a wayward kitty could ever need, from heated perches to hammocks. Arsenault spayed and neutered the lucky felines that he took in, and served up roast chicken dinners to his whiskered companions, who basked in safety and comfort with tummies full night after night. This man, like, cooked actual chicken for the cats? That's crazy. Can you imagine how expensive that would be? Dude, bro, those cats eating better than I was for many years. He was the most genuine and sweetest person ever, a humanitarian and a great person, neighbor Nellie Mendoza, who called 911 to report the fire, told the Post. A GoFundMe account has raised more than $675,000 for the sanctuary and to care for the animals as of Friday. They were living a better life than you, bro. Yeah. Yeah. Driver of box truck that crashed in Boston had a bad history of seizures, sources say. The driver of a box truck that crashed in Boston on Tuesday and seriously injured multiple pedestrians has a history of seizures. A yellow Penske rental truck crashed into a light post, a business, and then another light post before it hit several people on Neelan Street during the busy lunch hour in a part of the city known for its restaurants and foot traffic. ABC News reported the driver, who has not yet been identified, told police he has a history of seizures. That's weird that he hasn't been identified yet. There's some indication of that, but it's way too early to tell. A number of the people, including the driver, are still in recovery. We're a long ways away from making a determination on the case, Suffolk County District Attorney Kevin Hayden said. Witnesses said the vehicle was speeding before it crashed and toppled onto its left side on the sidewalk. According to Boston EMS, 6 people were hurt, including the driver, and 4 were taken by ambulance to area hospitals. Authorities said the truck driver was pinned inside the cab and had to be extracted. There were 2 or 3 people laying on the ground, and others were helping them out, calling the police, said witness Chris Sullivan. The crash happened just steps away from Tufts Medical Center, and a nurse at the facility jumped into action after seeing the crash outside her office window. Knowing that it happened outside Tufts Medical Center, it makes me want a tinfoil, but it's very unfortunate if this guy was actually, like, having a medical emergency. I'm here, Nurse Veronica Testa recalled telling the injured persons as she tended to them. You're gonna be okay, the ambulance is coming, we can hear them, they're on their way, just hang on. Maybe I don't really understand the difference between a medical center and a hospital. Maybe the medical center is just like a primary care place. That's why they couldn't actually care for them there and they still needed a hospital. One man was pinned under the truck, face down in oil. My goal was to get his mouth and nose out of the oil without moving him too much, and I waited until help came. This is like smartest pedestrian on the scene. He was just like, yeah, I'm gonna rotate this guy's head so he doesn't drown in oil, but also I'm not gonna touch him because I don't know what could be broken. Smartest pedestrian. Boston Police Commissioner Michael Cox said the crash appears to be a tragic accident. Preliminary investigation suggests that this was more of a tragic accident than anything else. However, it's still under investigation. 2 other people were treated at the scene but did not go to the hospital, and at least one of the people injured was in the ramen restaurant. The truck crashed just steps from Tufts Medical Center, where doctors and nurses heard the commotion and sprinted to help. I ran over to the gentleman who was under the truck on the road. He was face down, he was moving a little bit, but he was not responding to me at all. Tufts Kidney Clinic nurse Veronica Testa said. It was very chaotic. I saw people hurt. I saw people injured. It's hard to explain, but it was very chaotic, said Gloria Rodriguez, who heard the crash. Boston Mayor Michelle Wu said the city's building inspector will assess the structures involved. Is that all she said? Okay. In a statement to WCVB, Penske said it's aware of the crash and the company will be cooperating fully with authorities to support the investigation. Our thoughts are with those who have been injured in this unfortunate incident. The company added, based on our records, the truck involved was out on rent to a commercial trucking company. We have no other information at this time. I'm glad they recapped that. What recourse does someone have if they're injured by someone having a seizure? Is the seizure victim still liable? I'm not sure. I would think that the seizure victim would still be liable, because it's like, you have this condition, you know you have this condition, and you made a choice to drive still. Therefore, you would be held liable if your condition kicks in and causes an incident. So in this update, they're saying that the driver of the truck has not been identified, but he told police that he has a history of seizures. Whether he actually has a history of seizures will probably come in a further update after police investigate. So, like, if this was a guy who had a seizure, like, yeah, that's very fucking unfortunate. Gresham woman shocked by drop in credit score as student loan payments resume. And it's like, don't call me crazy, but if I'm someone with student loan debt, and I know that I'm on borrowed time for my borrowed money, and that I'm gonna have to start repaying eventually, it might be in my best interest to know when those repayments start again. And it's interesting how this article is framed. Also, of course, this person's from fucking Oregon. On January 1st, COVID-era student loan pauses ended, but many borrowers were unaware. Fucking how? This led to overdue payments and a drop in credit scores for many. One of those borrowers is Kiana Kiss, a single mom of 2 from Gresham. She's just... Can we play bingo for this article? Like, the consequences of my actions do not affect me, bingo? She took out astronomical student loans. She didn't pay attention to when she'd start having to pay them back. She's a single mother. What else can we rack up on this bingo card? She hadn't made student loan payments in a while, thanks to the pause. But in March, she received notice that her credit score had dropped and that she was 90 days late on payments. You got honest-to-God phone calls telling you when payments were going to resume? There's just no fucking way, man. I haven't had student loan payments in many fucking years. Like, before I moved to Georgia. And I still occasionally get emails about student loan shit. Like, there's no way, dude. All your friends who work in banking warned you at the start of COVID that you should never stop payments no matter what they say. Like, I have the sympathies for some people who were laid off through no fault of their own, right? And, like, they're just, like, suddenly in a position of, how the fuck am I going to afford things? So, like, I can kind of understand that, but a lot of people took advantage of these, like, moratoriums on rent and the stimulus checks we got, and they were just like, ooh, free money, I can buy nice shit, ooh, I don't have to pay rent, that means this is just free living. They didn't, like, conceptualize that, no, it's not free living. During this moratorium, you don't have to pay, but once the moratorium's over, you have to pay all of those months at the same time. I was in complete shock because I'd been working so diligently on repairing my credit and getting it where it needs to be in order to buy a home. You take such an extreme hit on your credit, and one that's not even accurate at that. Is this bitch retarded? Is this bitch fucking dumb? First of all, I'd been working diligently on repairing credit, getting it where it needs to be to buy a home. Why the fuck do you think you can afford a home if you have this much in student loan debt that it tanks your credit score? First of all. Second of all, if you're not repaying your student loans, what do you mean? Not an accurate hit? What the fuck? She's straight up lying? I don't know if she's lying or if she's just this fucking dumb. She's like, oh, if I just don't pay my loans, they'll go away eventually, and then that's fine. I just don't have to pay them. Oh my God. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, around 9.7 million student loan borrowers have taken a hit to their credit scores due to the sudden change. Gabriel Casas, the branch manager of On Point Community Credit Union in the Beavertown Town Square, Beaverton Town Square, said they have to deny a handful of loans from credit cards to auto loans so far due to the drops in credit. Good. Like, call me crazy, but if I have to play this rigged game that proves that I'm a better, like, lender than other people, I should have access to better lending than these other people. And if their scores show that they are dangerous to lend to, they should get denials. I don't think that's far-fetched. I read that about Gabriel Casas. He said one person had a drop from the mid 700s down to 450. Okay, see, I'd be interested in this. How long were you not paying back your student loans to get your credit score to drop from mid 700s to 450? Because that's a crazy drop. That's insane. How did you do this? How did you do this? I think the largest drop my credit score took was when I paid off my car loan. Paying off my car loan tanked my credit score about 50 points. And like, I only just recently recovered it fully from that. How dare you pay back your loans? I know, it's stupid. I know, it's stupid. You're very close to paying off your car loan. Congratulations, but also I'm sorry for your incoming credit score drop. You've never had a car loan, oddly? The only debt you have is each month's credit card payments? Yeah, same. Yeah, same. What the fuck? Paid it off, but it went down? So your credit score is a measure of how good or bad you are at paying your debt. And if you have no debt to pay, it makes your score go down because they can't measure how good or bad you are if there is no debt to pay. So when you're a good boy and you pay off all of your debt, it tanks your credit score because there's no more debt to be paying. It's really fucking stupid. I hate it. The system is rigged. It is rigged. It is rigged. I hate the game, man. It's so dumb. Ah, yes, credit score is an indicator on how likely you are at paying your debt. So paying your debt tanks your score. It makes sense if you don't think about it. In this particular situation, they only had student loans on their credit report, and as a result of them not making any payments on that, that's why it was such a drastic change. How much in student loans did they have that they weren't paying on that it tanked to 450? That seems insane. He personally is among those who has had to resume student loan payments. And while it was a surprise, he's doing his best to budget and cut back on things like eating out and other extra expenses to make ends meet. Is this supposed to make me feel bad for him? Is this supposed to make me feel bad for this person? Oh no, man who has to resume paying off his student loans that he took out to go to college can't eat out and spend on extra fun things. Oh no! Why the fuck would I feel bad for this individual? Oh no, you have to pay back your debt. Womp womp. Casa said the biggest reason for the shock was primarily because it hadn't been communicated very well. I just don't believe you. He's recommending that his clients prioritize loan payments in their budgets, use very little of their other existing credit, and seek out assistance for payments if needed in order to start the arduous process of building their score back up. Kiss said that she has disputed the 90-day delinquency with the credit bureaus and her case is under review, but she'll be surprised if it makes a difference. For now, her dreams of a new home are on hold. I'm a single mom of 2 kids and trying to do the best not only for myself and my children. It's just not fair to the thousands and millions of borrowers. Borrowers, that's what you are. You borrowed the money. You have to pay it back. I don't feel bad for you. You're a single mother. You clearly are unable to make good decisions. Tough shit. Tough titty, said the kitty, because the milk went dry, as it were. Everyone is ready to hate the rich, but chat, do you have the courage to hate the poor? As a person of underdeveloped means, oh yeah, I have the capacity to hate the poor. Nowadays, student loans are basically scams. I agree. And I feel like if you're dumb enough to take out a student loan to get a degree in like the feminist slant on basket weaving in Eastern Europe, you get what you fucking deserve, as it were. Like, I don't feel bad for you. 35-year-old was 29 months away from getting her $247,804 student debt forgiven. Now she's stuck. All right, I have multiple questions just based off of the title alone. First of all, why did they say 29 months instead of like, what is this, 2.5 years? Wouldn't it have made more sense to say 2.5 years? That's also a pretty long fucking time. And also, why was she getting her student loans forgiven? I feel like if you put a time limit on when people can get their student loan debt forgiven, they're just not going to pay and eat the interim tanking to their credit scores so that they won't have to pay off hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt that they took out from probably government-backed loans. How do you have that much student debt? That's a great question. Next question. Why are they that much in debt, and why should we be the ones paying to forgive them? Yeah, like, student loan forgiveness is a crazy thing to me, because, like, you can't just wave a magic wand and make that debt go away. Someone is paying for it somewhere. Audrey Bertram was starting to imagine her life without student debt. Bertram, a staff attorney at an environmental conservation organization in Montana, had just around 2.5 years left of payments before her $247,804 federal student loan balance would be excused under the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program. A staff attorney at an environmental conservation organization. How the fuck does she have hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt? How? She's likely a career student. That is an insane level. Law school? Any student loan forgiveness program should be paired with ending giving out student loans. Flunked 6 times. Law school is that expensive? That brings us back to the original problem. Why is law school that expensive? The bitch has a job, figure it out. But chat, how is she going to afford to live if she's expected to pay back her student loans? 7 years of Ivy League. If the Federal Reserve can make money appear out of air, they can make it disappear just as easily. Yeah, but when the Federal Reserve prints money out of thin air, it makes things worse for everyone. Which is, if they make it disappear just as easily, that's not going to be without consequences, what I was saying. Why was she about to get her debt forgiven at only 35? Yeah, good point. Joke's on us, she was a major hopper for years. For many months now, she's been frozen on her timeline to that relief. We're not getting credit, said Bertram, 35. This time, it's been devastating. Bertram took out her loans in law school knowing she'd work in public service and pursue PSLF. That was the only way taking on this debt made any sense. Okay, so if she had a plan, right, if she had a plan that I'm gonna get this job and be able to pay off this debt, and she's saying that was the only way taking the debt made any sense, I'm gonna press X to doubt here. I'm thinking she took on this much debt with the intent of actually never paying it back and hoping that the debt relief programs would just absolve her of it in the future. You imagine that people just assume you have to go to college and take out a loan? I don't know. I mean, it was perpetuated for quite a long time, right? Like, even my dad was like, I want you to have a better life than me, so you have to go to college. My dad pushed me into college right after high school, wouldn't even let me take a year off because he was like, if you take time off, you're probably not going to go to college, so you have to go right now. And I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I'm interested in. I don't want to waste thousands of dollars doing something that I hate, right? That's exactly what ended up happening, unfortunately. Meanwhile, you paid off your loans yourself, $1,000 a month for 12 years, interest is a bitch. Yeah, it's like, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's still being perpetuated. I don't doubt it. It feels like it should be very easy to wake up to this kind of thing, though. Like, unless you need something like a medical degree, you don't really need to go to college. The students made some really bad choices, but keeping the system is worse. I think if you took out loans, you should be required to pay that money back. But I do think the system should get overhauled. I think college is way too expensive. You had that exact conversation with your parents and the same thing happened. Like, the only time I would be like, okay, maybe we can do some sort of debt forgiveness are for the people who have, like, required degrees, right? Like doctors, like surgeons, like that kind of thing. However, considering how many people have been given degrees through DEI programs and how many people are no longer qualified to actually be working in their field because of the reduced standards to get these degrees, that also makes me put a pause on it, because it's like, if you shouldn't have that degree in the first place, I don't really want you to have loan forgiveness. Millions of other student loan holders are in the same frustrating limbo now after Republican-led legal challenges blocked the Biden administration's new repayment plan in the summer of 2024. The borrowers who enrolled in the program, like Bertram, have found themselves stuck. Many of these borrowers remain in a forbearance that doesn't bring them closer to debt forgiveness, while the Trump administration recently revised other student loan repayment plans to no longer conclude in debt cancellation. I mean, again, why should I feel bad about this? You took out debt with the understanding that you would have to pay it back. So why should I feel bad that you are not having your debt canceled? Please explain. Why should you have your debt canceled that you took out under the understanding that you'd have to pay it back? And why should I feel bad that it's not going to happen? Here's what to know about the current challenges to federal student loan forgiveness and what you can do about them. Many federal student loan borrowers who enrolled in the Biden administration era SAVE, or Saving on a Valuable Education, that's funny, plan remain in forbearance as a result of the GOP-led legal challenges to the program. Unlike the COVID-era pause on student loan bills, this forbearance does not give borrowers credit towards debt forgiveness under an income-driven repayment plan or public service loan forgiveness. A recent U.S. appeals court decision blocked SAVE as well as the loan forgiveness component under other income-driven repayment plans. Historically, at least, IDR plans limit borrowers' monthly payments to a share of their discretionary income and cancel any remaining debt after a certain period, typically 20 years or 25 years. PSLF, with President George W. Bush signed into law in 2007, allows certain non-for-profit and government employees to have their federal student loans wiped away after 10 years of payments. Chat, I wasn't very old in the Bush era. Was it this Bush or the other Bush that did the No Child Left Behind? Because it seems very interesting that we had like back-to-back, hey, we're going to just cancel your student loan debt after 20 to 25 years. And also, no child left behind before you get to college. So we're going to make children dumber in high school, and then we're going to push them into being debt slaves to get into college, and then we're just going to cancel all of that debt later on. I don't know. That seems like a really weird system to play with. You disagree on a key point. Letting these scam college and universities exist that sucker people into useless degrees do need to be shut down permanently. I don't think that's disagreeing, because that's also what I said. I said the systems need to change. I think the first things first is remove all of the Marxist ideologues from universities. And then once those are gone and degrees are actually on a useful field again, then you need to tackle how to reduce the price of getting said degrees. The government isn't there to like hold your hand and prevent you from being scammed. You just kind of have to, unfortunately, be smart enough to not get scammed. It's fittingly evil that colleges are fooling stupid people into debt they're too stupid to understand. It's the same as the mortgage system, right? All of these lending companies are incentivized to give out loans to people that can't afford it and are too dumb to understand they can't afford it, because again, it's the appeal to authority thing. They're like, oh, this is a mortgage lender. They're not going to want to lend me more than I can afford to, so this pre-approval letter that they're giving me, clearly I can afford to do this. When they can't. And the lender is then going to get paid by the government for this person who's not going to be making loan payments, and they're then going to be able to backload all of those missed payments onto the back of the mortgage, keeping that person in perpetual debt for God knows how long, until the government decides, okay, you can foreclose on them finally, right? Which is what's going to be happening in April. 8 million homes, at a minimum, are going to go into foreclosure proceedings because people who were given loans that shouldn't have been and weren't making payments for the last 1 to 5 years are finally going to be allowed to get foreclosed on. Taxes are intentionally convoluted to make people keep paying for tax services. Tax filing companies spend millions lobbying to not simplify taxes. I can only imagine. This April, April 30th is when all of these foreclosures can start happening. Tanking the real estate market. Yeah, baby! The only reason you're going to college is the state gives you a scholarship that is 100% covered. The Georgian Hope Scholarship is great. Yeah, like looking into scholarships, and if you meet the requirements for them, absolutely. That's like what they're there for, right? In the end, we may see borrowers lose over a year of monthly payments to count towards forgiveness, said Elaine Rubin, a director of corporate communications at Advisors, which helps students navigate college costs and borrowing. If you're eager to be back on your way to debt cancellation, you have options, experts say. You may be able to switch out of the now blocked SAVE plan and into another income-driven repayment plan. The Education Department recently reopened several IDR plan applications following a period during which the plans were unavailable. The Trump administration said it was updating the plan's applications to make them comply with the recent court order over SAVE. The IDR plans open now, according to the Trump admin, are income-based repayment, pay-as-you-earn, and income-contingent repayment. The caveat on ICR and pay is that automatic forgiveness after 20 or 25 years is not available now since the courts have questioned that permissibility under statute, said Scott Buchanan, executive director of the Student Loan Servicing Alliance, a trade group for federal student loan servicers. Still, if a borrower enrolled in ICR or pay and then switches to IBR, their previous payments made under other plans will count towards loan forgiveness under IBR as long as they meet the plan's other requirements. Meanwhile, borrowers in any of the 3 IDR plans can get credit toward PSLF. Those who want to be making progress toward debt cancellation should see which plan comes with a monthly payment they can afford. There are several tools available online to help you determine how much your monthly bill would be under different options. For now, Bertram has decided to stay put in the SAVE forbearance, even though she's not moving any closer to debt forgiveness. She's worried she'll switch into a new repayment plan, only to find that that program has also been halted or amended. You're constantly being jerked around by political rhetoric, Bertram said. I just hope I'm student debt free before I'm 40. Just pay it. VTubers getting a little bit more mainstream again. We've had a VTuber interviewed by Fox News Australia before. We've had Bernie Sanders interacting with VTubers, and now we have a Business Insider article. I make a living on YouTube playing an anime character. I'm very shy, and it's helped me get out of my comfort zone. Mint Fantome is a virtual anime-style influencer with 347,000 YouTube subscribers. This As-Told essay is based on a conversation with the creator behind YouTuber Mint Fantome, a virtual influencer who appears as an anime character. Like other virtual YouTubers, the creator is an anonymous online, but their identity is known to Business Insider. What a weird thing to say. Why would you have to say that? I play a 19-year-old ghost online. My anime-style digital avatar goes by many names: Mint, Made Mint, or Mint Fantome. I have 347,000 subscribers on YouTube, where I live stream my avatar chatting, singing, and playing video games. This is my full-time career, and it has become all that I do. I'm a part of a growing trend of virtual influencers called VTubers. Like many others, my identity is anonymous. I recently joked with a friend that our jobs are like the TV show Severance. The virtual characters we play online are like our innies, which are separate workplace identities of the show characters. I've never seen Severance, but I kind of like to compare like VTubers to like the Space Ghost show. I fucking love Space Ghost. When I was a kid, shame a fucking actor guy died this year, dude. But like Space Ghost would do interviews with like flesh people, you know? And I always thought that was super fucking cool to have like flesh people interacting with this cartoon who's like very rudimentally animated. Like it was so much fucking fun. And so like especially when I see VTubers doing stuff with flesh streamers, it just always makes me think of fucking Space Ghost. You've already seen adverts at the gym using anime? I want anime commercials. The McDonald's commercials in Japan are so fucking cute. DDP sang a song on Brack's show. Oh my god. The character I created allows me to have a public persona online without fully sharing my personal self. I discovered virtual YouTubers several years ago. Many of those I followed were from a Japanese company called Cover Corporation, which owns one of the top VTuber agencies, Hololive. I found their content really fun to consume. Living in the US, it wasn't until Hololive put out auditions for English-speaking creators that I realized this could be really cool for me to try. I kind of had like a similar thing where like I knew what Hololive was, and I was just like, I think this would be a really fun way to stay anonymous online. You know, I wouldn't have to put on clothes to stream. I like anime. I think anime women are beautiful. I was like, this would be a lot more fun than just being a regular cam streamer. And so, like, I had started out as, like, a PNG streamer, and then I went to a GIF, and then I had to, like, make the decision of if I wanted to do, like, regular camming or if I wanted to get a model. And obviously, I went the route of getting a model. Like, it's just more fun. It's just more fun! I enjoy it! It's great how big Minto is, considering how much of an actual weeb culture she taps into. Absolutely. It's always fun for, like, more weebs to have more noticing happen. Beautiful pulchra? Bellissima. I auditioned, but I didn't get the role. However, through the audition process, I met some independent VTubers who inspired me. I realized you don't have to work with a huge corporation to do this work. And she's completely right about this. And this is like one thing I'm really glad that they mentioned in the article that I've harped on so much throughout the years. It's like there's so many VTubers that think that they need to get signed to a corporation in order to get their big break. And like, yeah, sure, it might be easier to have, you know, a management behind you, have gen mates to collab with to propel you off the ground easier than it would be as an indie 2view, right? But you don't need that. There's been so many indie successes like Fillion, like Shy Lily, like Cinder, like myself even, and all of us have different niches that we play to with our audiences. Like there's no one route to success. There's no one thing you have to do, and you absolutely can do it without a traditional VTuber company. When I started in 2020, I wanted my avatar to be completely separate from my normal self. I told no one, not even friends or family. Same. Then, as I started to become more popular, some of my friends came across my videos and recognized my voice. The craziest thing is when I've gotten like Discord DMs or text messages from people that I either played games with years ago or knew in real life, and they're just like, hey, so this thing came up in my YouTube feed and it kind of sounds like you. What's going on here, Kirsche? The Foxu report for the White House. It's always really jarring when someone like organically consumes your content without knowing it's you, right? I later told my mom she didn't quite understand it, but she knows I've always loved Japanese culture and anime. She can't believe what she thought was a phase has evolved into my career. My dad said something similar. Like, I had always been playing video games growing up, and when I was a teenager and like a kid, my dad played video games with me. You know, I've told the stories about Mouth in Pokemon. He played Xenosaga. He played the Final Fantasy games. He played Gex. He played tons of stuff with me. And so like getting older and still being into video games and him thinking like, oh, this is just a waste of time. Like, you're not gonna go anywhere doing this. Like, you need to, you know, focus on getting a job like better than what you have in like retail, better than what you have at like this hotel, right? So me finally, I guess, like getting somewhere, not even just playing video games. Like half the time I just fucking yap. Maybe 75% of the time I just fucking yap. Like, I don't know. But it's like he told me he's like incredibly proud that I managed to make something out of something that I very much enjoy, especially since he was the one who encouraged me to quit my insurance job because of how bad it was tanking my health. And so he's like, I'm glad that after all of the difficulties you've been through, you're able to do something that you enjoy. You're able to do something that you enjoy that makes you money. Like, I'm incredibly proud of you for your perseverance. And so it's like, hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, dude. You'll never work a day in your life if you do something you love. That's absolutely not fucking true. Well, I love what I do, but it definitely still feels like work. Not when I'm on stream, but like all of the other shit that I have to do. Because, you know, fucking entrepreneur, business owner, woman. It's mentally draining sometimes, as it were. Funkir from her FNT appearance, loved. Oh man, it's a shame that FNT is on Fridays. I'm gonna have to do Tuesday night's main event again sometime though. Work is work even if you love it, especially if you work for yourself. Absolutely. How I make money as a virtual influencer. Most of my income comes from donations on YouTube. That's just out of people's generosity. That's how I've been able to maintain this as a career. I also sell merchandise and promote brands through sponsorships. I talk about this sometimes as well, because this is the same with my income. The majority of my income is from like direct donations. And it gets dangerous the longer you go and the more your income stays from direct donations. And it's not like to sound like I am ungrateful or anything, so please do not take it that way. But it's just like when you're relying on the generosity of other people, it's not steady income. The more you have like sponsorship kind of deals, the more reliable that income is. And I, specifically, obviously, am a bit of a brand risk, so I have to be a little cautious, both like of who comes to me for sponsorships, who I reach out to for sponsorships, and also like I don't want to take slop of sponsorships just because. I don't want to like promote things to my audience that I would feel bad about. So there's a lot of sponsorships over the years that I've just declined to do because I don't like the product, or I wouldn't feel comfortable shilling it to my audience. More and more VTubers are infiltrating Western culture. For example, HoloLive's VTubers collaborated with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I've seen other independent VTubers work with hockey teams and at other events where you maybe wouldn't expect to see an anime girl. I've performed at a couple of live events and I want to do more. At these shows, I'll dance and sing with other VTubers. And online, everybody is just a number and a username in a chat box. But with live events, I can feel a true connection. I don't know how I feel about that one. Like, I kind of get it, right? Because, like, you feel detached when you talk to people online, I suppose. But you get to learn who the people behind the usernames are, right? And that makes them feel like more than just a number. Hell yeah, I'm a name. I typically try to stream for 2 to 4 hours a day on YouTube. Filming is simpler than people think. I use a phone, and there's programs like VTube Studio and VCFace that VTubers use to generate their avatars. I went to school for filmography, and I have some experience, but I also watch a lot of YouTube tutorials. This is actually really cool, and I kind of wonder if she'll do, like, mini-series in the future, right? Like, I'm sure that would take startup funding to be able to do, but, I'm sort of thinking of, like, Merryweather's comics, but instead of comics, doing sort of, like, filmography stuff for, like, little mini VTuber series. I think that'd be kind of fucking cool. When I first started, I streamed in my closet. It was a small walk-in closet with good sound insulation. Now, I have my own dedicated streaming room. I just cuck my roommate out of the living room when I stream. When I'm not streaming, I create my own graphics and thumbnails. I scroll through X, where I'll post and check hashtags. Also take notes on my phone for ideas for live streams or merchandise. I do the same thing, and then I immediately forget those notes. I even have a notes server that I immediately forget that I posted in. People who counter-signal idols don't actually understand VTubing. I mean, I think there's definitely things from idol culture that we would be better off not adhering to. Right? Like, I think the whole, like, not being able to mention past life stuff is a little silly. Alright, I want to be able to tell my audience about, like, oh, Sammy Sandwich is now Cammy Cream Puff or whatever, right? I want to be able to do that because I feel like if somebody reincarnates, I want people to be able to find who they are. It's hard for me to turn the switch off. Some creators can say they don't go online or on social media at certain times. I don't have strict boundaries like that. Instead, I log off from my job by browsing my personal Instagram and TikTok accounts, which are centered on my hobbies and interests, such as anime and Japanese culture. I fucking feel this woman, man. It is also very hard for me to switch off. I don't know how to not be in work mode. And my mods will harangue me to even take, like, sick days, because I'll be fucking dying and it'll be 10 minutes before stream time. And I'm just like, I don't want to cancel. I feel bad when I cancel. Like, I want to stream. Please. I just like, I don't know how to relax is like my problem. An alternative pathway to entertainment. This passion for anime helped me break into the entertainment industry, which I consider virtual YouTubers a part of. I agree. And so do nefarious people as well, unfortunately. As in any aspect of entertainment, so much success is the luck of the draw. Also true. When I'm streaming, I'll see a number on the screen of how many people are watching. Maybe the number says 3,000, but I can't fully comprehend that 3,000 people are watching me. I know that they're people, and I know that their usernames represent a person, but even after all these years, I feel so ordinary. I don't feel like an influencer. Oh, I get what she was saying earlier then. I understand. That makes sense, because I feel very much the same way. right? Like, I don't see my number anywhere. The only, like, indication I have of how many people are watching me is how fast the chat is going at any given time, which always isn't accurate, right? You always have more people watching than chatting because lurkers are a thing. And I prefer to, like, not pay that much attention to my number. I think the only time I was, like, hardcore number friending was when I was on path to partner and I needed to pay attention to, like, getting that fucking minimum 75, and even then I got rejected. But it's like, conceptually, when you think about 3,000 people watching you, that's like a massive arena, right? Like, not like a Taylor Swift arena, but that's still like higher than your local comedian or like your local garage band playing at, you know, some local shop. That's a fuck ton of people. And when you conceptualize how many people that is, if you were to do this in like a real life situation, it's like, holy shit. The anonymity that comes with being a VTuber has been really great for me. I'm not a very public person, shy, have a lot of social anxieties, but chatting for hours a day online has really helped me come out of my comfort zone. I'm so grateful I get to do this job. And I 1000% agree with her on all of this. Because like I started streaming in general to try and like get a better hold on my anxiety. I was like, I don't know what to do. I hate being unemployed. I feel like I'm just spiraling and getting worse. What's something I can do to try and make my anxiety better? Well, fucking I know. I have a decently well-known name in Terra. Why not start streaming? Because I'll already have like a small base of people. And I can try to talk to human beings in that manner. And I feel like it's definitely helped. It's definitely helped over time. I mean, like, how much Minto love goes around in Kirsche chat. Yeah, I thought this was a very cute article to have. I thought it was a very cute, nice little article thing. So the SAG-AFTRA stuff's been going on for a hot fucking minute. People have, like, privated their accounts, they've, like, deleted their accounts, so, like, a lot of stuff is missing and weird. But SAG-AFTRA said, what Aniris said, the post is not here. Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero will make it easy for you. Here's a link to our interactive video game media agreements. Let's talk soon. This agreement has severe limitations on how MiHoYo can work with non-union voice actors, including a lifetime time limit for the voice actor, and eventually forcing the voice actor to either join the union, which has large entry costs and fees, or stop working on the project. And so, to me, reading this, it sounds like basically bully mafia tactics where they have union voice actors infiltrate a project, get jobs through there, force the other voice actors and the company to sign on to the union, and then that becomes a de facto, like, union job at that point. They just keep collecting these properties to become union jobs. If this was just about protecting voice actors from AI, 100%, I would agree with that. But if there's something in there that's including lifetime time limits and also forcing non-union voice actors to join the union, that's fucked up and no one should be forced into signing this. And this is why no one is taking these voice actors seriously and no one is caring if they're losing their jobs. This person said, I find it hilarious that HoYoverse isn't even the cruel ones that are heartlessly recasting SAG-AFTRA cast for no reason, but rather it's the Chinese player base that's threatening to drop the game if they don't recast. Imagine screwing up so badly the Chinese players want you gone. There's a screen cap here. If this is a Chinese player or not, I don't know. Again, this is Twitter. Grain of salt and all. Expanding on Chinese players' response, according to friends in China, players are uninstalling the game in droves as protest and sending emails to Peng Bo, the voice director, demanding him to pressure the English side and have the unprofessional VAs removed. It apparently got so bad that HoYoverse and MiHoYo made an official statement asking people to stop because it was freezing his computer. The Chinese player base is obviously much larger than the Western player base. And if Western voice actors are trying to use their bully tactics on the Chinese, it's not going to fucking work. And they're going to fuck around and find out much faster than they would from bullying Japanese or other Western companies. Hopefully, this finding out stage affects quite a few of them that have been being real bitches about this situation. Figured out why Chinese players are protesting. They're feeling insulted, saying that Americans are bullying a Chinese company. They are. And that Westerners are shameless and greedy. What the fuck? I love the Chinese now. Even asked MiHoYo which side they're on, assuming it's referring to US versus China, and they also called SAG-AFTRA Mafia. Here's some Chinese posts that I can't read because I am incapable of reading moon runes. It is not a language that I can understand. Look at that silly Doge. Or more Chinese. It was never about AI. If so, they wouldn't have gotten pissed off that another human non-SAG was signed on to replace those that refused to work. Yeah, I feel like it was never about the AI. They wanted to publicly make it about AI to get more people on their side to try and pressure companies like MiHoYo into accepting their agreement, but very clearly not about that. To summarize, CN players don't like the NA and SAG-AFTRA's attitude, where they treat the Chinese company as a pushover and doormat, so they'll force the union VAs out of the voice cast by boycotting MiHoYo's game. SAG-AFTRA forgot how prideful the Chinese people are. They're used to being able to bully companies into submission, both in Japan and in, like, the Western sphere, so it doesn't surprise me that they got high enough on their own farts to think that they could do this to a Chinese company. Like, literally does not surprise me. Since we know how much power the Chinese whales have over MiHoYo from past events like the HI Third community, Honkai Impact the Third, their demands will likely be met. The problematic VAs will, in other words, get recast because HoYo can't afford losing the group that funds their games. MiHoYo and HoYoverse represent China, and SAG-AFTRA represents America. What Chinese players see is America trying to bully their country. No wonder they want to force Pengbo to recast the individuals that are hurting the Chinese pride, and even asking which side he's on. I wish Japanese companies would do this. Can you imagine if Japanese game companies were like, stop capitulating to the fucking Westerners who are trying to inject their culture into our games? I want Japanese games to stay Japanese. I do not want them, like, inflicted with this culture warrior nonsense from the West. You wish American companies... Yeah, I mean, I wish Western companies did this, but, like, we've gotten used to these bully tactics, right? I mean, Japanese players? I mean, yeah, if Japanese players could pressure their companies into stop bending the knee, right? Like, I can't see MiHoYo eventually bending the knee if their largest paying customers are rallying against it. Japanese players have been vocal about Assassin's Creed Shadow, aka Johnny's Somali Simulator. It seems like Reddit users asked Chinese players for help because they were being silenced. Please tell this to the Chinese family. Our posts are being deleted. We can't communicate right now. Even this post will get deleted soon. Please help us in EN. I'm begging you. I don't know how true this is, especially where he has like a fucking there's a high chance of messing with you thing. It's his little flare there. You know, when you're behind 7 layers of satire too often, no one's gonna take you seriously. Here's the reason this is happening, probably, aside from their own pride. They were asked directly by Reddit users. To the one person who's sad their comment didn't get translated, I feel you. I bet you had a great opinion. CN Bros, help us complain to MiHoYo. There's a link to a video. CN players are inviting these Reddit users to XHS since they're being silenced on Reddit. So the Chinese players and English players can communicate directly. More Chinese I can't read. Found 2 Chinese players that mentioned complaining in player surveys. One is suggesting for fellow Chinese players to add that foreign servers should get player surveys too in their submission. The other ones say it's too late, they've already submitted it. And I'm sure people will like look at this and be like, but I thought you guys were against the cancel culture. What do you mean you want the English voice actors to lose their jobs? The English voice actors in SAG-AFTRA are the ones perpetuating the bully tactics. They're the ones trying to force their way into MiHoYo to sign contracts that aren't just about AI. And that's wrong. It's not cancel culture for people to be against you wanting companies and other voice actors to sign contracts that would be against their best interests. Another CN player that helped Reddit users write a review, and they're asking why AI protection is even a problem, since MiHoYo is a Chinese company that won't break their own AI laws. They're also calling SAG-AFTRA and union VAs ungrateful, and said that they deserve getting replaced. One CN player says that it is reasonable for the Chinese player base to file complaints, because the EN dub is a part of the game and can be used by Chinese players as well. On XHS, Chinese players, at least the ones that were involved from the post 4 hours ago, are ruthless, saying that certain VAs better not be lying about death threats. I'd say they're very invested at this point. I'm personally not agreeing that this behavior is okay, though. It's like, I think most people are so used to, as soon as someone gets criticism, they start talking about death threats, that everyone is like, if I don't see proof of death threats, I'm not going to believe they're real. I just think that's the general, like, purview of people online now. And then, Banmin had some screenshots that he took here. He said, be Japan-based voice actor with no knowledge of American sociopolitics, accept a job offer given to him by MiHoYo. Union VAs get upset, and many started insulting him and sending their followers to harass him. Outsiders see this behavior and call them out. Rightly. Victim blaming the Japan-based VA, saying he should not have talked about the Union VAs harassing him. That's right. If you're being harassed and you talk about it, you're the problem. You're starting drama. You're not adhering to the status quo. You need to just shut up and take it. Such is the main character syndrome of many Western VAs and people like OP. Not only they demand Asian and foreign creators to bend to their will, they'll make your life miserable for merely accepting a job offered to you by the creator that they're attempting to intimidate and bully. And finally, when they start getting pushback from their own rotten behavior and for throwing the first stone, they blame you for actions they chose to take that make them look bad. Here's some screenshots here. Jacob Takanashi is the Japan-based VA who took a role replacing the SAG-AFTRA-backed voice actor. Kaylee Mills said, this is actually kind of diabolical. If you need the money, at least take the role uncredited. This just comes off as an easy grab for clout. It's not a good look. Why the fuck would you expect another voice actor to take a role uncredited? Like, that's actually a wild thing to say as another voice actor. And thankfully, this person also got community noted. According to voice actor Nathan Noakes, fellow VA Jacob Takanashi, who's a Japan-based VA, had no knowledge of the strike or circumstance of which the role was being recast. There's another screenshot here. Luis Bermudez, another voice actor, according to his handle. My hope is that you were misled, towards Jacob, and weren't fully aware that John was withholding his work to fight for a better future for actors everywhere. If that's the case, you have the opportunity to do the funniest thing right now, but if not, and you continue in this role, yikes, man. You saw all this too and you thought it was crazy? It's actually crazy. Like, I've known for quite a long time just how, like, cliquish the Western voice actor community is and how incredibly narcissistic these people come across on social media. Like, you guys know I've interacted with Chris Niosi before, and he has a bit of a, like, you know, sordid past that follows him around. He was accused of like sexual assault before. I don't want to, you know, speak for him too much. He's come on and he's explained a little bit about it, but he's like, I really want to, like, leave that part of me behind. Like, there are things about it that get misconstrued all the time. I'm tired of fighting about it. He had to give up a role with one of these gacha games. I can't remember which one, because as soon as he was cast in the role, tons of people came out of the woodwork to chastise the company for hiring Chris. And I feel like that's probably pretty bad, right? Like, if he's been arrested, sure, but to my knowledge, he hasn't. It was Honkai, you think? They all look the same to me. You have a friend who has a friend that owns a voice acting company. He has met several VAs that have a stick up their ass. It's like, I've loved voice acting, and I have a handful of voice actors that I've really liked their work. But, like, watching just how full of themselves a lot of these people are on Twitter, just, like, wanting to, like, change characters, making their headcanon real, trying to bully other voice actors out of roles, making sure that only certain people can get into roles, keeping the industry cliquish and small, while also claiming to want to, like, open it up to more diverse people. It's just... I would love to do voice acting, but I would not want to interact with the majority of these people, unfortunately. Western voice actors are kind of like journalists. There's another one here. Shara Kirby quote retweeted, "This gotta be the most classless thing I've seen with everything going on. Have fun with Genshin. You'll never work on anything else. LMFAO." And again, this pointing to how cliquish the Western VA community is. If they want to black you out from somewhere, they fucking will. These people will go after a company if someone gets a role that they don't think should have it. So there was a couple of screenshots here of this, and Banman was quote retweeting Lil Karibo. And the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series was something I fucking loved. I watched every fucking episode of that. I waited with bated breath for each new episode to come out. I loved Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series. So to watch throughout the past couple of years, this guy just have the worst takes on everything has been so disappointed. It makes me so sad, man. Again, Jacob Takanashi here saying, hey, I know tensions are high, but don't do this. Jesus, if you send death threats to anyone on my behalf, too far. Sorry you had this happen to you, Kiba. I don't know who Kiba is. The post is unavailable. Let's see if I click on it. Yeah, it's not here anymore. And like, what else do you expect this guy to do? Like, he's not sending anyone after these other voice actors. He's not like asking for anyone to get death threats, disavowing it, being like, hey, if you're getting death threats, you shouldn't be. I don't like that. Like, what more do you want from him? And Lil Karibo responded, with respect, tensions would decrease significantly if you recognized and spoke publicly on the fact that voice actors aren't bullying you. If you truly didn't know about the strike, say so. If you did, say so. Voice actors are going to keep being attacked until then. Voice actors attacking this man and then getting criticized for huffing their own farts. I don't care if they're getting death threats. They shouldn't be. Don't send death threats. Don't send death threats to people. That's bad. But criticizing these people for being fart-huffing pieces of shit is completely fair game. And he is being bullied by these voice actors. They are going after him. They're telling him this shit. This has got to be the most classless thing I've seen. Have fun with Genshin. You'll never work on anything else. They're openly saying they want to freeze him out of being able to get other roles in the future. And anyone who knows about English voice acting knows this is something that happens. Rev had a post on it as well. Kirsche VAs are the theater kids' worst scum ever. Rev said, these narcissist English voice actors must be shell-shocked, watching their lies and hypocrisy get put on blast over the SAG-AFTRA strike. Their slacktivism and virtue signaling has been coddled for years, and now they're finally getting criticized. They're crashing out. It's just like with game devs. They were coddled for so long, and then when people finally started calling their shit out, they couldn't handle it. This is, again, the SAG-AFTRA account that I read earlier, basically being like, hey, we'll make it easy. Here's a link to our agreement, which no one should fucking sign. Mafia tactics, once again. Zulu and Lima, Corina, I don't know what that means. There's a huge difference when you take the role of an actor who is striking for AI protections. You are no castmate of mine. And thankfully, this person also got community noted. According to voice actor Nathan Noakes, Jacob Takanashi, who's a Japan-based VA, had no knowledge there was a strike going or circumstances regarding being cast in the role. And then they link the Nathan tweet down here. Here's another one. Kaylee Mills, once again. Games signaling the interim is the best outcome for all actors. That said, non-union games do very much have the option of adding AI protections into their current contracts. See the Nava Voices writer. And while many of them do, some still refuse to. And again, she got community noted. Kaylee Mills is still working on Goddess of Victory Nikke during the strike. Nikke has been temporarily changing their voice actors who participated in the strike ever since the strike started. Wow! Imagine my shock! A virtue signaling voice actor was actually just a hypocrite! It's like Scooby-Doo all over again! Kaylee got severely too big for her britches, man. I was just like... The fact that these people keep trying to say AI protections over and over again when it's more than just the AI protections, it's like a lifetime agreement. It's forcing non-union VAs to become part of the VA. It's turning this non-union job into a union job. Again, it's literal mafia tactics. No weighing! And then we have Valeria Rodriguez, lost 400 followers for a couple of thumbs down and calling out entitlement in a fan base. Oh well, it is what it is. Wow! The level of projection that these entitled voice actors have to call anything coming out against them entitlement is crazy to me. Yeah, it's the fans' fault. It's the fans' fault. They just don't understand. I appreciate everyone who's thought critically and supports what's going on and has integrity. This article actually put it really eloquently. Again, community noted. I love to see it. The article lied and said John Patnuade has been voicing Kinnich for 5 years. Kinnich first debuted in the game 6 months ago, and John had only voiced him for one patch, 6 weeks. Genshin Impact itself isn't even 5 years old yet. Losing 400 followers is pretty huge, considering it's probably a significant percentage of her active follower base. Good lord, you know the Teamsters have ties to the actual mafia? What the heck? Yeah, he only voiced one patch. He's barely been in the game. Imagine lying about something so verifiable it's all these people fucking have. And then we had Paimon's voice actor having a literal crash out. I haven't watched this yet. I'm very excited. I've been holding off so I can watch it with you guys, chat. Oh my god, here we go.
Thing. If voice actors, both non-union and union, in a video game want a game to go union, the game should go union. Nobody else's opinion matters. That's it. And YouTubers don't know anything. YouTubers don't know anything. They're not voice actors. They've never been in my industry. They don't know what my industry is about. They don't know anything about SAG.
That's why we talk to people who are in the industry. Wow, imagine that. We have the ability to talk to people. Who would have thunked it?
Anything about being a non-union actor either. Stop telling me to go to liars. Liars. They are paid to lie to you.
Even though we've watched all of these people get community noted over and over again to expose the lies that they're telling, you know? That's how you do it. If you're the one lying, you just got to accuse the other people of lying. That's simple, easy, beautiful.
Also, I'm sorry. They have more incentive to lie. They have more of an incentive to lie because idiots like you fall for their shit and they get paid for that.
What is my incentive to lie about English voice actors? I feel like you have far more of incentive to lie about the SAG-AFTRA contract not just being about AI protections because it benefits you since you're part of the union. You know, it's a little bit of that's benefiting you, man. It's like Asmongold. I think it was Asmongold said, right, when we were talking about the Ludwig situation, where he was like, I think Ludwig made the right choice from like a content creator's perspective. I can't even remember what the fucking drama was, but Asmongold was like, when someone makes the right choice, right, you have to think about how did they benefit from this? Because even if they did the right thing, they didn't necessarily do the right thing because it was the right thing to do. They might have done the right thing because it was the correct PR move. And if it was the correct PR move to not do the correct thing morally, then they would have gone with that. So even when someone does the correct thing, you take it with a grain of salt. And also, like, unfortunately, I very much understand people's hesitance on believing content creators on anything because a lot of them do lie. A lot of people lie in general. Something involving Hassan, wasn't it? I genuinely don't remember because I don't think about Ludwig. He's not in my sphere of, like, noticing for almost anything. Eastern VAs, QT 6.28, Western VAs, Gremlins. I just feel like a lot of Western VAs don't put enough effort into their work. People lying on the internet! Everyone lies, like how she's lying right now.
Hello?
Hello?
God forbid. I want my industry to actually, like, I don't know, function, and that everybody gets paid and everybody gets, like, healthcare.
What?
Did you know that, like, once things become union, people get paid a lot more? So people are like, oh, but, you know, then some non-union actors will have to join the union. Yeah, they'll be able to, easily, because they'll get paid.
But what if they don't want to? And what if they feel like they can negotiate better on their own without the union, without paying the union dues? What about that? What if they don't want to be a part of the union? What if they don't want to have to stop taking work because the union decides it's on strike? What about all the TikTokers that decided to take favors from, like, Hollywood and whatnot, and when the writer's strike happened, all the TikTokers were not able to make content, and they were like, I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills because I can't make content because I signed this agreement. What about that? What about those people? What if the union keeps taking political stances you hate? Also that! What if I don't agree?
Paid more. Also, there are options that the union has to help pay for those things. There are options to help people pay for the union dues within SAG, but you don't know that.
If there are options for people to get the union dues paid for them, then what is the point of having the union dues except to exclude people you don't want in your club? Maybe I am just ignorant on this part. I will fully admit. Maybe I'm just entirely ignorant on how that works, right? But it seems like if there's a way for people to pay for the union dues without having to pay for it themselves, then what's the point of having them? Stop making sense.
Oh my god, it's almost like you're not an actor. It's almost like you're not a voice actor.
I'm a clown.
Are these YouTubers. But bottom line is that both non-union actors and union actors in a video game want it to go union and
well, clearly they don't want it to go union, or this whole thing wouldn't even be a fucking issue. If everyone in MiHoYo wanted it to go union, it just fucking would have. What do you mean? Like, this wouldn't be an issue if everyone wanted that.
I've wanted it to go union for a long time. So nobody else's opinion that is super fucking wrong anyway matters. Hope this helps.
No, it actually didn't help. It just made you look fucking crazy. Made you look crazy. You must be a chef to tell me if food tastes bad. Oh my god. So there's this guy. I have no idea who this guy is. Waves, a streamer, gacha gamer, musician, AI enthusiast, lover of good arguments, welcome to the abyss. He's an AI enthusiast, so like maybe could be biased, who knows, but he posted this. First of all, Genshin Impact is not and never was a union project. By union's own rules, they shouldn't have been working with HoYoverse in the first place, but for some reason they did. And then he links the contract thing under SAG-AFTRA to prove his point. Second of all, forcing non-union VAs to join the union, which means paying a significant sum for a membership fee in the first place, and possibilities of their membership being terminated due to Global Rule 1 if they decide to work on non-union projects. Guess what project is non-union? HoYoverse, as we just established. Third, appealing to protection from AI is the most ridiculous argument for the strike. SAG-AFTRA openly states on their website about the partnership with Replica Studios. Another link. And usage of Ethnovox, which is an AI voice model. The strike is against things the union is already partnered with, and thus, position of VAs taking part in such strike seems vulnerable because of their only argument's core failure. And finally, the real reason behind the union is to explicitly manage who can work with who, taking over projects and creating a monopoly where non-union VAs will be forced to join or they will be left behind. This whole story is an example of the most hypocritical approach to create a monopoly under the flags of protection. It's just like the Patriot Act. Whole union is a masquerade and thus shall be called out. Reveal yourselves. This is under their FAQ. I'm a SAG-AFTRA member, but I'm tempted to take a non-union job to make ends meet. Why is that a bad thing? I'm just trying to earn a living. Created on March 16th, 2018, and then updated in 2020. And their response is, non-union work undercuts the union's ability to negotiate the best contracts possible for you. If non-union producers can hire the best in the business for next to nothing, they have no incentive to go union. Additionally, non-union work allows producers to pay less and avoid paying residuals and retirement benefits. It also subjects you to longer unpaid work hours and potentially hazardous working conditions. Sorry, my English failed. And when you work off the card and run into problems, the union can't help you because the project wasn't produced under the SAG-AFTRA contract. Working off the card not only contributes to the growth of non-union work, but it puts your membership in jeopardy. Under the union's Global Rule 1, members must work under contract. Consequences for working off the card range from fines to suspension to expulsion from the union. Hazardous work conditions. And I feel like the ability to work for a lower cut would help other newer voice actors get into the industry. And like, I'm someone who says that I think a lot of voice actors are underpaid. And I think even in Japan, voice actors are typically underpaid for their work. But if you are someone brand new, you don't have any work under your belt, and you're competing with people who typically cost many tens of thousands of dollars because they're very well known, they're a very well known voice, they're on tons of projects, you can be like, hey, I'll work for less than that, here's my voice reel, and maybe you'll get a job to start building your portfolio, right? Like if you're someone starting it, and I could be wrong, right? I could be completely wrong about this, but it feels like that's a way for like newer people to break into the industry. This is probably something I could ask Chris about because he would know far more than I would. What is Ethnovox? This is created October 28th, 24. Ethovox is a company creating a fully consented foundational voice model. A foundational voice model, or base model, is a voice model trained on large volumes of anonymized data files that does not have individually identifiable unique characteristics, such as sound, tone, rhythm, or cadence, that remain consistent and recognizable when used to synthesize speech. A foundational voice model provides the basis for a digital replica, which is trained on the speech of an individual or individuals and generates speech. Ethovox's foundational voice model is not intended to be user-facing, and the voices included in the model will not be identifiable in any of the speech generated. What a fancy way to just say it's AI. Kirsche is not an expert on cashbacks. I'm not. How does an extremely shitty AI voice model help voice actors? I have no idea. I have absolutely no fucking clue. I guess it's different because these people consented to it, but like, then if people want to sign a contract with a company with a consensual AI voice model based on them, should they not be allowed to? Should they not be allowed to make that decision for themselves if it's their voice and their property? It helps them get replacement. I think like baseline, if you sign a contract with a company for your voice acting, you should have protections from that company using your voice non-consensually for AI purposes. You should absolutely not have them do that. Sounds like a scam to you? I don't know. It's fucking weird. That's fucking weird. While protection from unauthorized usage of AI is a valid concern for voice actors, the union's approach on solving the problem seems irrational. Mostly forcing HoYoverse to sign a contract and thus making their titles union exclusive rather than protect voice actors from AI. Main concern is about HoYoverse's will to use AI voiceover based on the position of listed on their website before. This is rational only if in the context of its usage not included, there were no open statements from HoYoverse about plans on replacing real VAs with AI voices. And I hope they don't. I hope they don't replace real VAs, but I hope VAs trying to bully HoYoverse into signing contracts and then also bullying other VAs for taking jobs who didn't even know about the strike. I hope they kind of get a bit of comeuppance for the bullying. We can only assume why they would add such position to their roster. Most speculations are about adding voiceovers for every single character's line, which would make the game world more immersive. Such thing exists already in a lot of games. Most known one with this particular approach is Skyrim. Question is, whose voices would become a source of training data for the AI model, and would it be a fair agreement between a voice actor and a company? But that's for the company and the VA to decide on which terms they can agree upon using AI, not for the union, who has no contract with HoYoverse and probably never will. And again, if a VA wants to sign a contract that allows the company to even use their voice in specific scenarios for AI, that should be that voice actor's prerogative. It should be their choice. There's another tweet here. Genshin English VAs are fucked. Isn't it interesting when they talk about Jacob Takanashi attacking him or harassing him, it's okay. But when people call out said toxic VAs, that's where they draw the line. Kaylee Mills here saying, this is one small job for him. It's not his full-time work. It's Corina's bread and butter. I don't know who Corina is. He's done very little VO work, and so it isn't what he's relying on to pay the bills. For all we know, his wife's the breadwinner. Either way, they bought a house recently, so I doubt it was a necessary job for survival. That's very weird. To like look into this guy to the point that you know he bought a house recently so you can denigrate him for taking a job that you think he doesn't need. If he just bought a house, isn't he gonna have to make fucking payments on that house? What do you mean? Karina's the Paimon VA. Thank you, chat. This is just like an absolute psychopathic thing to type out. It doesn't matter if it's his full-time work. If he wants to do a job, he should be able to take it. And, like, he says that he didn't know about the strike. Personally, I hope he's not lying, but I wouldn't care either way if he knew about it or not. He's non-union, so why does it matter? If he wants to take the job, he should be able to. He needs the job. Like, it's asinine to just, for all we know, his wife's the breadwinner. Who fucking cares if his wife's the breadwinner? If he wants to do it, he should be able to. What fucking right do you have to determine what's necessary for him? Yeah, it's crazy. And someone thankfully responds, it's all good. I like your work generally. However, I think that talking very deliberately about a colleague's financial situation in a public way is not something that looks good. And it's not. It makes her look fucking crazy. He can starve. What is it with these commies and making others starve? Let them eat cake. She's literally pocket watching his house purchases. Ain't no way English VAs will genuinely never recover from this. Yeah, they fucking lost the plot, man. It's crazy. And then we have Banmin making another post here. Looks like SAG-AFTRA's big defender Kaylee Mills deleted her account. I wonder why she did she got caught mask off and accidentally, or purposefully, pushed U.S. Union imperialism and wanting her cake and eat. Oh shit, he made the same joke, or she made the same joke I did. I always default to calling everyone a male, so I forget that Ben is actually a whammons. Attacking Jake for scabbing, but actively defending her friends when they do the exact same thing. And apparently also her doing the same thing, because she got community noted with a statement that said she's still working on Nikke. She probably realized how bad she looks since her comments got pretty viral for the worse. Class. And this is again that tweet talking about how Jake bought a house recently. Here's another tweet. Why does no one ever address the fact that bothers people the most? The fact that it's end up in a US-based monopoly and making employment future non-union versus a non-union, non-US based VA hell. What is this US main character syndrome, and why is it fine to be a scab for Nikke when others strike it? And Kaylee responded, SAG, quote-unquote, winning the strike means that their contracts will all have AI protections going forward. It doesn't make every game union. Also, I've worked on several union games with international talent. A game going union does not bar that talent from working. Then why are you mad at Jacob? Why are you mad at that guy? It's confounding, really. And then there's another tweet here. It continues. She just had a longer tweet. My bad, chat. She continues, technically no union actor should work non-union at all. But we all do. All the time. It's always been that way in VO. It's not necessarily fine, but it is still very different from taking an existing role from someone who vacated that role without work for AI or withholding work for AI protections. That's why you don't see anyone calling out any of the actors announcing their new non-union roles. It's because while as much solidarity as possible helps the cause, no one really expects everyone to be perfect allies. It's not about AI protections. You guys want the Hoyoverse to be a union contract. That Paimon lady said that everyone wants it to be a union contract, when very clearly that is not the case.